Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chandan, and I work with Studio 3T. And I'm today co-presenting this session with Ashwin Gangadhar, who is the Senior Solutions Architect at MongoDB, and Saket Patil, who is my colleague at Studio 3T. We're going to be talking about querying faster on MongoDB today. My role is pretty limited. I'm here only for about the first 5 minutes, and then I hand over the baton to the other speakers. What we'll be covering today is Ashwin is going to run us through how to feasibly and satisfactorily move data from a SQL environment to MongoDB. I guess you all attended the session on the relational migrator earlier, so he's going to be talking a bit about the extension of that. And Saket will run us through a live demo. Saket is a brave soul. He's doing a live demo in front of a large audience. So he's going to be, once your data is on MongoDB, he's going to be running us through the different tools that Studio 3T offers, which includes, for example, querying with SQL statements on your MongoDB collections, using our query code generator to translate that to Mongo shell and other syntaxes of your choice. Then there is the team sharing functionality, something that we have been pretty excited about over the last few months at our labs, where you can take collaboration to the next level, working on your MongoDB project. And then the Visual Query Builder and the AI Helper, some of the most popular tools that we have, where even someone absolutely new to MongoDB and Studio 3T will be able to build complex queries using a drag and drop model of writing them. And of course, the aggregation builder and exporting all of these results overall. But to begin with, I wanted to introduce what Studio 3T is, who we are, what do we do in a bit of a nutshell. We offer, we are an industry-leading UI software for MongoDB exclusively, and we offer features as a GUI which are very easy to use. It's very simple, where you can query on MongoDB with Studio 3T. Our users do come back and tell us and give us the feedback that they've been able to save up to about 9 hours, depending, of course, on your use cases on a weekly basis. And it doesn't matter if you're an expert in MongoDB or if you're a newbie. There is a little something for you to take away from using Studio 3T, and it makes working on MongoDB easier and faster. Our suite of functionalities is pretty comprehensive. We do have querying tools. We do have performance tuning and monitoring tools. We do offer data management tools to work on your collections and handle the data, and also migration tools to move data from SQL to Mongo and Mongo to SQL, both directions. Yeah, we empower your whole team to, regardless of your expertise with MongoDB, and offer you tools that would suit your specific use case. Yeah, our predominant user base would, of course, the first one would be the developers and engineers. We want developers to spend as much time on development and coding, and we don't want to take away that time from development. So the drag and drop query builder is pretty helpful to do that. You can write, like I said, you can write your queries in SQL syntax and get the software to do the rest of it in translation. Another pain point that our user base tells us is how to balance the schema control with flexibility. That could be a tough challenge there. So we give you an instant overview of your metadata of your schema. You can analyze that. You can detect and identify inconsistencies and anomalies and be able to fix that with a few clicks without really having to go on the command line. And maybe your pain point is that you need to connect to many servers at the same time and migrate between them. We do offer a very simple thing called as just copying and pasting your databases or collections in between environments. It's really as simple as that you can use a few clicks and do it. You don't have to go the long winding way of exporting and importing. Yeah, and when you're migrating from a SQL database, you can also alter your data accordingly. And of course, other than the developers and engineers, we do have a bunch of other user base, which is testers and QA. Sometimes it could be challenging to just write simple queries over and over while identifying the bugs. So we do offer a bunch of different tools. The team sharing functionality is pretty helpful here. So you can collaborate with your team members to get the queries copied and pasted and saved in a team folder, and then be able to access that instantly. As a DBA, you're probably focusing on doing a lot of performance tuning and monitoring. And we have a dedicated toolkit called as the performance tuning toolkit that would let you troubleshoot your queries and optimize your database for best performance. And finally, analysts figuring out how to work with MongoDB into reporting workflow. And we have easy to configure exports that would help you look at the analytics part of it and be able to use that for your use cases. That's pretty much about it, I think. That's us. Well, we have a booth at the corner over there. That's me and Saket and Aksa, my another colleague who's going to be there. So if you're interested in looking more into the tools and what do we do and what we offer specifically, please do come visit us. We can organize some demo over there, or maybe take your contact information and organize a demo later on, so you would be able to understand Studio 3T better for yourselves. Thank you very much for that, and I hand it over to Ashwin to take it forward.
Hello, guys. Before we start the video, you guys have already gone through about SQL to MongoDB migration, where the benefits of doing that and how you could do it. So I'll be walking over this process again so that you can take a look. So what our the migration tool has is basically you can migrate from various SQL databases onto the MongoDB. So here I've connected to an Oracle database wherein I have selected a complex product retail use case wherein there is multiple tables and multiple, the schema is very, there is a more schema, the rigid schema. So what we are trying to do here is, so you can either do it yourself with the relational tool, or you can basically ask the MongoDB to recommend a schema given the tables for you to migrate. So here, in the UI, you can clearly visualize the two schemas, wherein the left side being the SQL schema that is currently being stored in your Oracle database, whereas in the right side, it is the representative schema of what you would be storing in MongoDB. And here, if you like the schema, you can just go ahead and do a migration of data from Oracle. But here, what I would like to do is, I would like to extend the orders table, wherein I want the orders that I'm processing to also include the product information with respect to the orders that I'm making. So I embed the orders table with product information. I don't want all the product information that is stored in the products table. So what I end up doing is I select a certain fields that is of importance for me for later on doing analytics or processing on this data, and hence I choose those specific fields, and now I have the new schema wherein I have embedded my product details along with the orders details table. So once I'm good with this, I can go ahead to the orders migration panel. And here, again, I'll have to key in my database keys, wherein from where I'm moving Oracle database keys, and in MongoDB, what is the database name, and where will I be moving this to in MongoDB Atlas. This can also be done on on-prem MongoDB as well. So here, there are two variations of migrations that we can achieve. One is a snapshot, which is one-time movement. This continuous is a use case wherein you want to keep the legacy as well as migrate into a modern MongoDB architecture. So you can leave it at continuous. This example does continuous. So it is broken down into two stages, wherein the snapshot does a one-time movement of the entire data that you have got in your Oracle database into MongoDB. And once that is completed, it will basically create a CDC stage wherein it will open up a change and it will wait for any changes that happen in the Oracle database to be moved into MongoDB. So until you close this, this will stay open, and so both the databases are in sync and functional. So here in the Compass tool, we are actually trying to look at the same data, visualize the orders table along with the product information that we just embedded using the schema modification that we did. So because it's in the continuous mode, let's take an example wherein in Oracle, I create an order to my orders table using the Oracle view. So I've just created an order with the ID 10503, and I have not given the product information here, which is basically just the product ID is given. So once I key in that order, so I can see that the change is captured in my continuous chain. And once that is captured, it will basically then get written into MongoDB in the orders details table, along with the product information that is associated with the product automatically. And you didn't have to do this specific mapping like you generally maintain using the ETL processes. So there you go. This is the order that I created, and the product details is also available, which I had put in the schema. So this way you can modernize your applications by maintaining both legacy and the modern database for as long as you are confident and good to go with the newer application. So now what I will do is I'll basically hand over the speaker to Saket so that he can walk you through, once you've migrated the data into MongoDB, what more can you do, having different personas such as a developer or an analyst and so on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chandan and Ashwin. So now that your data is you migrated your data from SQL. Most probably, most of you are from working from development point of perspective. Also, from the some of you are QA analysts, or maybe some of working with the BI part of the work. In Studio 3T, we have tools for all of the different kind of user roles. Whether you are actually managing the data, if you want to migrate the data, or whether you are querying on the data. So today I'll be walking you all of you through some of the data sets or tools that we have. Most probably on the querying set of tools that we do have. But I'll just give a quick overview of all the tool and functionality that we do have currently. So on the top, you can see the global toolbar, where we have this querying set of tools. And also, we do have some data management tools. If there are some use cases, like if you would like to compare your data, let's suppose you are copying some data from your production server, doing some testing, and then want to compare those databases, want to see what changes that you have made. You can use actually this compare feature for that. Most of you might be working with the schema analyzing, so you can actually do the schema analysis and also find out all of the different anomalies in your data. And Studio City also helps you to actually rectify if there are any errors. You can also see the global probability, which shows if there are certain fields missing from your data. And sometimes, like if you want to actually restructure your schema, we do have a reschema for that. Then we do have import, export, which are our data migration tools. And also, we do have a data migration where you can migrate data from legacy SQL to MongoDB or from MongoDB to SQL. But today, we'll be just focusing more on querying set of tools. To start with, this is our connection panel where you can see all of your currently connected connections. And as you could notice that I have currently connected to 2 different connections, one of which is my test server or local server, as you can say, and another one is Atlas. So you can have multiple connections at one time. If you go to the connection manager, you can manage all of your connections in a single window. If you would like to export any of those settings, or maybe if you want to share those settings with any of your teammates, you can quickly create an URL string, and you can export that URL string and share it with your teammates, and they can just copy it and paste it and get connected to those servers. You could also notice that I have given different colors to those servers. So the local server is in red, and green server is in, the green server is Atlas. So actually, it actually helps you to be oriented on where you're working at. So if you open any of the collection from local server, it will just highlight that particular red color for you. And since Studio 3T actually supports opening multiple collections at one time, you can just quickly go through those collections. You can copy data. You can just quickly work across multiple collections at one time. So today we'll be working on our Berlin dataset. As my colleague mentioned, that we can quickly copy and paste the databases across your different servers. So I'll be just copying my Berlin database. If you right-click on your database, we have a lot of options like a copying database. If you want to copy all of the collections, also the views, and if there are some indexes in them, you can also copy that. So I'll just quickly copy this database and paste in my local server. So sometimes with the databases, we do have users and role. We do have different credentials. So if you want to copy them, you can also have those credentials copied with them. You can just keep that. And once you're done, the data will be automatically copied to your server. So we do have operation tabs here, where you can also see like how much time it's taking, how much data is being transferred from one server to another server. So you don't need to actually export your connections or databases that you want to work. Just simply copy the databases and paste them wherever you want to work. So yeah, let's get started with our first query. We do have 4 different set of tools for querying, starting with the collection tab. If you open the collection tab, you can see all of the documents available in your data. So as you could notice, there are a lot of things to do here on your data. You can actually save your query. We do have a query history where you can see all your previously ran queries. And on the bottom, you can see all of the documents that are actually available in that specific database. If you want to see the count of documents, you can just click on this one. It will also show you the total number of documents. And also, there are some color codings here. So while working, a lot of times we do have different fields, and we need those field types to actually query on the database. So all of my strings are actually in green. All of my embedded fields are in blue. Also, the integers are in yellow. So you can also give this different kind of color coding to actually be specific about the fields, and actually you will be much oriented on which field you are particularly working on. So you can just set this up as per your preferences. Then we do have 3 different views to actually view your data. So the first one is a tree view. So a lot of times there are some embedded fields in your data. So if you want to see specifically which are your embedded fields, you can just actually open the tree view where it will show all of your data in this tree format. And you can just scroll through all of the embedded levels and check that data if you want to work with this view. Then we do have JSON view. So like some of you might be comfortable working with the JSON viewer. So you can you can work with the JSON view from here. But our most widely used view is a table view because it shows your data in tabular format, like as in SQL, and it's quite neat. You can easily navigate through the data, easily do querying on that. So we'll be just doing first query. So the best part of this collection tool is a visual query builder. So where you don't need to actually know about the syntax if you want to actually query on a specific data set. So what visual query builder does, you can just drag the field for which you would like to build the query, and Studio 3T will automatically write the query for you. So I'll just quickly drag one of the field. So I just want to see how many people live in the Florida state, and I also want to write a query for that. So I can just quickly drag this field into this box here, where it will also show you all the operators that are available for you to do different set of applications. So let's suppose you want to set a different conditions to in that specific query. So you can actually select any of that operator from here and set your different conditions for the query. And if I run this, so what software will do, it will actually run this query in the background, and it will also show you the actual query that will be required to actually get these results. So we do also have a projection and sort. So if you want to further refine your query. So with the projection, if you don't want to have all of your fields in your final results, let's suppose I just want to have first name, last name, and the email addresses of those users. And I'll just sort this data by first name in a descending manner. And if you hit on the run, now you have much neat data, the things that you require in your final results. And if you have noticed, while I was actually dragging and dropping the fields, software has auto-populated the actual query syntax for you. So you don't need to worry about the syntaxing while you are creating those fine queries. Another great thing with this tool is the query code. So once you have dragged the fields for which you would like to build the query, you can then just go to the query code, and software will just generate this Mongo shell syntax for you. So you can just copy this from here and directly paste it on your databases. There might be some people working with some other applications, might be developing in C# or maybe Python. And if you want some specific codes for that, you can also, software can also translate that specific query in that desired codes. So yeah, here you can see that I've just translated my query into the Python, and you can just copy this from here and paste it in your application. It also has this explain tab. So if you want to see how your query is being executed, how many documents are going through each and every stage, if you are doing performance, if you want to see the performance of your query, and if you are writing some indexes and want to see like if those indexes are being used, you can actually go to this explain tab, and you can see how much time it's actually taking and how many documents are going through each and every stage. So yeah, this is much of Visual Query Builder. Now we'll move on to the SQL query. So yeah, as there are many teams right now migrating from legacy SQL to MongoDB, and you might know how to query on SQL, you might know the syntax of SQL, and you can actually utilize that knowledge to actually query on MongoDB as well. So with this SQL query tool, you can use your SQL statements like select, from. If you want to join multiple collections, you can also use that inner join and quickly run the statement. You can quickly run the statement and see the final results. This was just simple query that I ran, but I can show you one of the complex query where I'm joining two different collections. So if you take a look, I'm joining a customer interest with the states collection, and I'm using select, inner join, and I'm ordering it by state population rank. So once you have written all of those queries in your SQL syntax, you can just run the statement. And yeah, you can just get those final results. Once everything is done, you can just then go to the query code if you want to translate that query into either Mongo shell or any other language. And yeah, so one of the best thing with this tool is if you go to this Mongo shell, and if you don't know how the operators or how the functions in MongoDB works, if you're new to the MongoDB, you can use your knowledge of SQL, write those queries in your SQL statements like this, and convert them into Mongo shell, and you can then just carry on from here. Another great thing with this tool is you can then open these queries in IntelliShell or aggregation. So if you want to further update this data, want to add some stages or some operators in this data, so then you can go into open this into IntelliShell or aggregation. So I'll just open this into aggregation. I can show you how easier it is. So the aggregation pipeline builder is Studio 3T's robust pipeline builder for creating an aggregation queries, as well as if you want to manipulate your data, you can actually use this tool for that. It's unlimited, like you can have a lot of multiple stage queries here, and at each stage you can add multiple different kind of operator. So if you are new, you don't know how to write the query, you can actually add an operator, or maybe add a stage. And here I'll select one of the operator. So if you don't know how that syntax for that operator work, you can just then see, software will actually show you how the syntax works for that specific operator. And you can just write your query from there. I'll just go ahead here and delete this stage. You can also see the final results by running this query here. It will show all of the documents that are coming after running this query in the background. And there are some times when you want to actually exclude some of the stages or exclude some of the operators and want to see how it works, or maybe try different scenarios, then you can just exclude one of the stages from here and then rerun it to see how your queries performs. Yeah. Then we'll move on to the next tool called as AI Helper. So with the recent advancement in ChatGPT, we have also integrated ChatGPT into Studio 3T, and now you can actually ask OpenAI or ChatGPT to build queries for you. So this is quite very good tool to actually, if you don't know how to write the syntaxes, it actually also works for the find queries as well as for the aggregation queries. So I'll just quickly open IntelliShell, which is Studio 3T's inbuilt Mongo shell. And we have added AI Helper right here. So I've selected customer interest collection, where we ran just one query on Visual Query Builder. So we know like there were some people living in Florida state. So I'll just write a command in natural language to see how it works. So we can just ask OpenAI, show me. So I'm just asking, show me all people residing in Florida state. And you can just hit on generate query. So what software will do, it will send and prompt to OpenAI in the background, and it will write and query for you here. And if you want to see the actual prompt that's going to OpenAI, you can just open this C prompt option, and it will also show you that these field names or this field schema is actually being shared to the OpenAI. So to ensure your data security, none of your data will be actually shared with the OpenAI, since just your schema structure and the names of your field will be shared with the OpenAI. So yeah, you can just go ahead and then run this query to see the final results. And we can see, okay, there were 253 people who were living in Florida, and we are just validating that here. Then we do have this script history where you can also see the previously ran queries. If you want to quickly open any of the query, you can just open that. And another great tool that we have is export. So if you have created any of the query, you can just go to the export those results into JSON or CSV format. Or if you want to also export them into SQL file, you can also export them in SQL format. And we'll move on to the next tool called as team sharing. So team sharing is our new recently launched tool for collaborating more within your teams. It's more like of a shared cloud. So you can create a shared folder for everyone working on your team, and you can share the connections. You can share the SQL connection, as well as you can share some queries that are being saved on your system. So I'll just go ahead and I don't know if everyone can see here, but we do have added team sharing on this left-hand side of the tool. If you go here, it will open this option where you can create a new shared folder. I'll just give a name, and you can just invite all of your colleagues who are working on the same project, and you just need their email addresses associated with the Studio 3T. So I'll just invite Chandan. And you can actually give edit, like a manage, edit, or view access. So if there are some people actually who can manage, like maybe if you want them to add another colleagues, you can give them manage access. If some of them are just, you want to have them just view access, you can just give them view access. So I can, and if you go next, there's option to actually select the connections that you would like to share with them. So I'll just go ahead and share my local server. If you want to share some SQL connections that you're working with, so you can also select that. And we do also share these queries. So I've also created some folder on my local system, and I want to actually share these queries with those users. So I can just quickly select the queries that I would like to share, and I'll create this. So once you have created this folder, here you can see that you will get this notification that you have successfully created a shared folder, and the recipient or your colleague will get a notification that your colleague has created a folder and he has invited you to join that shared folder. Once they have accepted the invitation, they can see all of their connections or all of the shared folder here, where you can see which different queries or different connections are being shared with them, and they can just quickly open those queries. So if you open the query manager, you can also see all of the queries that are being shared on the folder and who actually edited that query last. So in the large project, it's like quite hard to understand who worked last on that on that query. So with this option, you can actually see if a certain particular person has actually worked on it, and you can maybe ask them about the query. And if you want to actually work on this specific query, you can actually open it, you can preview the query and load it if you require to work with that. Yeah, and we do also have multiple options like data masking. So if you have some sensitive data that you would like to maybe mask before actually sharing that with your colleague, or maybe if you're working with a consultant, and if you don't want to share some sensitive data like email ID or some credit card details or something, then you can use this data masking tool where you can actually mask those particular fields. And yeah, that's it for today. So we also offer like a one-to-one demo sessions for all teams. So if you have time later, feel free to visit us our booth, and we can actually set some time for your teams. Thank you, everyone.